Here's your marker. So finish it with some microloans.
Okay, so with the Bank of Bangladesh, Mohammed Yanis, with his microloans, the women are buying with the microloans, are buying cell phones to give market information to the fishermen and to the farmers, to be able to give them market information. So they make up to 12-fold more money having market information to know where to go sell their stuff and so on. So you can Google this, take a look. The issues were a cell phone costs too much money, it needs electricity, it can be hazardous to your health as far as causing cancer. I wish it was a computer, and wish it didn't need a $1 or $2 million cell phone tower and all the infrastructure. So we came up with a project, an open source project, to be able to build a device, which most of the technology is already out there, and we've already played with open source phones and Android, Google smartphone software to build this. So basically you shake it to create electricity, it shares that, it creates a 1 gigabit wireless network, self-healing, self-registering, IPv6, a lot of geeky stuff just to be able to say that it's a decentralized computing and communication system that creates its own infrastructure. And that is exactly what's needed to get to everybody else to have consensus on this planet, because human potential is the resource that we're squandering, that we need to connect to be able to make this work. So the next project is, which is part of So You Think You Can Save the World.com. The first initial stage is education that is completely revamped. So everything from Montessori schools to kindergarten, all the way up to high level, Stanford, Berkeley, MIT, create a forum for everybody to be able to create the next generation of education that makes sense, not based on what we have before, which is the industrial age and consumerism and so on. This is quite different. So all the schools, and the reason is because our ages are getting, we're able to live a lot longer, but the people that have less days in front of them than they do have behind them, the problem is they don't have the longevity to look forward to that the younger generation do. So they make decisions that hamper change and are not necessarily sustainable. So what I'm saying is that the youth of this planet needs to be in charge, and they are. Founders of YouTube and Google and Facebook and so on have an awful lot of money, want to do social and social entrepreneurialism and things that make sense, that are sustainable. So it is there. It is empowering, and we're creating an environment and a platform and a place for you to be able to do this and to take this over and make it happen for young people, to be able to just simply create this. And again, in Costa Rica, we're providing the land to be able to do this, so that you can have a very profound place, the place where there's the cleanest air, food, and water, most biodiverse on the planet, with a beautiful beach, one of the best in the world, with mountains that go up to 13,000 feet, rainforest, protected lands, lots of great infrastructure. Costa Rica just won an award for the happiest people on the planet, one of the highest literacy rates, the highest university per capita in the world. Just Google Costa Rica to see what's going on down there. It's absolutely incredible. The reason we believe that decentralizing is the best thing is because Google's doing a really good job of consolidating things, but anything centralized can become a poison. So, and once a monoculture type thing happens, there's a single point of failure, is what technology people call it, or a bottleneck. So when we decentralize it with everything that we're doing, we're creating an environment where the utopia of, like, say, the device, the computer slash cell phone slash infrastructure, where it's decentralized and it's so low cost that reducing the cost of collecting taxes and reducing the cost of a transaction and taking transactions and collecting taxation for governments, from 10-20% in the emerging markets to 80-90%. By basically giving away free Google phones, so to speak, and also the cost of advertising. One of the challenges that we feel that we're seeing with customers as we bring them on as Google Apps customers and Google Wave customers, that the information is stored by a U.S. company that under the Patriot Act, you have to sign off and it says that they get to read your information. It's also not in necessarily your local jurisdiction, so people having access to information you can't litigate against or control is an issue. So we want to create a completely open source version of what Google is doing and other open source projects, make them web-based, but make sure that they're available for your jurisdiction. It can be local for you. What's unique about what we're doing is we're creating a franchise model. The franchise model is focusing on green, environmental businesses to enable them to grow that fits their philosophy, and that it's also at the same time, from a franchise, it provides like managed services, a utility type model to small, medium-sized businesses, which is like 87% of the GDP globally. And with mobile phones, 1.3 billion cell phones were sold last year. So we're dealing with really, really, really big numbers to affect large change very quickly. So we're creating a buying group through the franchises of all these small, medium-sized businesses, which decentralizes, again, puts the power back in the ma's and the pa's and the main street instead of the Wall Street, which we all know from what's happened in the last year is you know, think local, eat local, do things locally again. There are certain things that do work for, you know, non-tangibles that don't require carbon to be shipped across. If they're just electrons across the internet and stuff, that's cool. But there are certain things like eating locally and local things for building and stuff and so on that needs to be brought back into perspective. So those are an overview of each one of the projects. The most important thing I can say in this is these are just the basis of identifying cause and effect, responding, reacting, and we want you, especially the youth of the world and all these schools, to take these on as projects and to take this on and take this over. I was inspired by going to a place called Earth University in Costa Rica, and Earth University is 20 years old, and they teach sustainable agriculture. It's a foundation that it looks like Stanford or Berkeley back in the bush in the rainforest in Costa Rica. But what they do is they teach a course of 400 students, 100 per year, and under the foundation they provide the money for the students to come in from 50% of them from very impoverished areas from all over the humid tropics. And really what they're trying to do, their product is people, to create new world leaders in different areas, to lower the barrier to entry for people to socially and economically uplift themselves, to create an environment where children and people can create their own self-esteem, which is the only perpetual motion machine that there is on the planet, for them to be able to be inspired, to discover their passion, and to be able to hone that passion and let the community help to foster it, so that will help save us on this planet. Because any types of passions that people have is their, you could say God-given gift or from the universe, whatever you believe in, it is what we need right now. And there's many stories that go with that, but that's really what we're trying to do, is to create an environment where everybody can collectively come together, a social event that captures the focus of human behavior as it is today, and to basically we're all programmed by TV, by radio, the internet, and branding and commercials and stuff. But now we have an opportunity to rebrand ourselves, to reinvent ourselves. Instead of having a Coke and a smile, we can have a pipa, which is a young coconut that has the most electrolytes found in nature. It tastes good, and it gets rid of parasites. It's really, really good stuff. The cacao. There's also an interesting question that came up is, there's a lot of cacao on the planet that's out there, but what if we create a great demand for this and it becomes a currency again? We just play with this, but it becomes a real currency again. That's our hope, because unless somebody comes up with a better idea, that's where we're at today and working with that. there's this substance called ormus, O